Hey, what's going on? Nick Unsworth here, and you're watching Life on Fire TV, and this is Hump Day Q&A. And today I'm diving deep into spirituality and how this can actually help you not only with your mindset and living a life on fire, but with your business as well.
Hey, what's going on? Nick Unsworth here, and I'm a kick-ass business coach, and I'm on an absolute mission to help you find your purpose in life, to help you love what you do for work every single day, to help you be the rock star that you are meant to be, to make more money than you ever thought was possible, and to have more time freedom so you can actually enjoy the life that you're living. I'm here to help you set your life on fire.
All right, welcome back. So today the question that I want to address is not even necessarily an actual straight up question. This is really a collaboration of questions. So on my personal Facebook, which is just Nick Unsworth on Facebook, the URL is just facebook.com/NickUnsworth101. I just get a little crazy. I get personal, sharing what's going on. I've had just, I'm always traveling around, just doing cool, fun things. And so I've been sharing about my experiences lately, about what's happened since I started going to church out here in San Diego. And so a lot of people have been asking me about faith and about spirituality and how it's impacting the business. I've been on actually a couple radio interview shows and stuff. So I'm just gonna share kind of what's happened and how that's how that's been amazing for business. And also just an update about what's possible with a podcast like ours and what's happened since we got started. So before I dive into abundance and spirituality and answer those questions, I'm gonna first just share with you guys a big old thank you. A thank you for subscribing, and thank you for all the amazing and thoughtful reviews that you guys have been sharing with us. And then also, just a little bit of an update. So people are always asking, what can happen with a podcast? What's possible? And I love it so much because we can take you, anyone with a passion, anyone with a vision, and it could be a microphone for an audio podcast. In my case, of course, this is video. You could do a video podcast. Take your unique gifts, your talents, your purpose, and get that message out there to the world. And iTunes, this amazing sea of people, hundreds of millions of people, where you get your show, you get free advertising from iTunes in the first 8 weeks, get hooked up, and that builds your audience, right? So what's happened for us so far is that in the first 8 weeks, we had a little over 50,000 people download the show. Think about that, 50,000 people have downloaded the shows. So what's crazy about that is that's an audience, right? And just like us, you guys can do that as well. So if you do have a story, you have a mission, a stance, a movement you want to create, something you're passionate about. You could be passionate about health and wellness or health and fitness, or it could be about any topic that you're excited about or something you're good at. So if you're interested in podcasting, it's been amazing for some of our friends and peers like John Lee Dumas and Michael O'Neill, but it's been amazing for us too. And people are always asking, how are you monetizing this thing? Is it worth it? Is it making money, or spending all this time on video and doing all this stuff? Is it worth it? And so my story about spirituality actually ties into podcasting. And yes, it is worth it. And I'm going to share with you what happened. So basically what I do, what happened with me is that I grew up Roman Catholic, always believed in God, but never really took it to the next level. That was always kind of like between right and wrong. I always thought about that, went to church as a kid, but just wasn't 100% into it, you know what I mean? And just kind of did my own thing. Moved out here to San Diego, my world and life had changed. Met with friends like Marie Andros, and she really inspired me to go to a church out here in San Diego called The Rock. And anyone that's out here in San Diego, definitely drop me a message on Facebook, and would love to hang and come to these awesome, cool church environments. And so what ended up happening is that she invited me to go with her, and I watched her, how spirituality was such a big part of her life. And so as I'm talking about spirituality, I want to make it very clear. This is not about me pushing a faith or a religion or anything on anybody. At the end of the day, I'm just sharing my own experiences. And whether it's believing in God or Allah or being a yogi and being into meditation, at the end of the day, spirituality is a huge part of living a life on fire. And so I was living a great, cool life before, and part of why I'm so excited to share this message is because my life has been absolutely, unbelievably amazing ever since I really got plugged in to spirituality. I never even was aware of it because I hadn't been doing it at this level. And now that I have, it not only has led to abundance in my life with just, with the business, with Life on Fire, but it's led to me finding the woman of my dreams and falling in love. It's led to all kinds of cool things. And I truly believe that we always talk about 4 pillars of a life on fire: mindset, networking, marketing, and purpose. And I'm very close to adding a 5th pillar, spirituality, because it's something that everyone, many successful entrepreneurs talk about, and that's a big part of having a balanced life. I just had never experienced it before to this level, so I didn't know. So basically, hanging with Marie Andros and seeing her life and seeing that she was allowing her faith and allowing that to make and dictate her decisions, and really putting so much faith in her products and programs that she was launching and promotions. And that for me was really cool to see, and it kind of inspired me to start going to church with her. Now the church is like this rah-rah, it's called The Rock. I mean, I shouldn't say rah-rah. It's more of like concert style, so there's a band, Christian rock, and the pastor is like amazing. And even if I wasn't into faith at all, I mean, the messages are so impactful because it's like a personal development. It's like going to a Tony Robbins event. So I totally started, I was a little uncomfortable at first, but I started going, started digging it. And then I watched her life, and I watched her have these promotions. I was at her event, I spoke at her event. I watched her effortlessly, bring in clients. She's changing lives in her business, and watch her effortlessly do over $500,000 in revenue like that. I watched her go from someone that was looking to find love and in a relationship, and her and I used to talk about that, and I watched her life unfold before my eyes, and boom, she didn't worry about it. She knew that the perfect person, she had the faith that the perfect person was going to end up in her life, and sure enough, Sean did. And the two of them combined, it was so inspirational. I was a single guy at the time, and I'm looking at their love for each other and thinking, this is what it's about. I mean, she just didn't worry about it. She knew that God had her back, and that there was a greater plan for her, whether you believe in God or not, that there was a divine purpose for her life, and that the perfect person was out there, and it was already pre-planned, and she just didn't worry. And then sure enough, met this guy, fell in love, and I'm thinking, this is crazy. This is what I want. So December 8th, I had a crazy experience where I had been going to the Rock out here for like a year and hanging with other really cool entrepreneurs that were, plugging in, to spirituality as well. And then one morning I woke up in the middle of the night and just had a really amazing and special like epiphany. Some pastors call it being saved, and it was like a full rush over my whole body and just like seeing colors, and it was like weirdest trippy experience. But it was like the feeling of like God's presence on me, and I ended up having all these thoughts about doing a really cool fundraiser to give back, and it was on my heart to do like a really cool fundraiser, and I ended up coming up with an idea to, around the holidays, do this Kindle giveaway where we fundraised, we raised a whole bunch of money, bought 100 Kindles, gave them away to foster kids, did this whole big event, and all of it was like manifested from God and all these feelings and stuff. So that day was like a big crazy day for me, and I realized, like, you know what, there's something with this whole spirituality thing, and I'm going to basically surrender. I'm going to basically just kind of give my life to God and think about it more often, and really plug in and really just actively pursue my faith. Right now, it's the first time in my whole life where I was like, you know what, I'm going all in. I'm committing. You know what I mean? And so what was wild about that is, as I did that, things started happening in my life. And what's crazy is that what you think in your head becomes things in your life. And I stopped worrying so much. I stopped worrying about finances. I stopped worrying about things happening, and I just knew that as long as I followed my heart and I had faith. So whether your faith is in God or whoever you believe in, or yourself or spirituality, at the end of the day, that faith, I just was like, you know what, letting things go, and I'm just gonna have faith that it's gonna work out. What's crazy is, from that experience, some can call it a coincidence, I call it kind of like divine. Like this is ever since I changed my mindset and really surrendered, that since then, that month of December, we went on to bring on 7 Firestarter Elites. That's $3,000 a month in our clients. We've literally radically changed our entire business that month. I got inspired to do a webinar, boom, rocked in 7 Firestarter Elites, and everything changed. I had never charged $3,000 a month before that. I was charging $500 a month for coaching. And that whole thing came together, and it was almost effortless, right? From there, we did our charity event, lots of cool things happened. Long story short, I had been trying to find love for 2 years. And I had a client who was a matchmaker. I had hired a matchmaker. I had been on Tinder, on Match, I mean, out and about. I started spending a lot of time just trying to date and find someone, because that's another part of a life on fire, is that my mission is to help you live a life on fire. And part of my job is I need to also lead by example. I need to be a role model. I'm trying to live my life on fire and travel and do fun, cool things. And yet it was just really sad that I had no one to enjoy them with. And think about that. If you've ever been single or alone, or if you are right now, it's a human need. It's one of the most basics of human needs, but to love and be loved is, I would arguably put that, I would put that above, making money and all that stuff. That's more important than almost everything. And I didn't have that. So I'm living a life on fire, but I didn't have the one thing that most of us all truly desire the most, which is love. And so that was another piece, right? So at the end of the day, I put my faith in God and everything, and next thing you know, I find the love of my life, Megan Ann, and that whole situation is a story in and of itself, but that came from me trying so hard to just surrendering, and then boom, she totally popped into my life, and it was effortless, right, from surrendering from that. Since then, part of why making this video is because so many people are asking me about spirituality, because I've been posting on Facebook. I did this little challenge to myself. Every month I set goals, right? So in the month of April, I decided to set a goal of going to this thing, men's prayer. I go to this new church out here in San Diego called C3. And if you guys are anywhere close to San Diego, hit me up on Facebook. Join us at C3. It is amazing. These people are entrepreneurs. They're literally like world changers. They're unbelievably successful entrepreneurs at this church. It's amazing. And we do events. We hang out for entrepreneurial events. They bring in keynote speakers, people that you'd have to pay $50,000 to get to speak at your event. So it's this whole community that I was like, man, there's churches like this. Like, I had no idea. It's crazy. It was like a church that's like fun and that's amazing and that's great connections. And so long story short, I decide that for the month of April, I'm going to challenge myself, and I'm going to go to this thing called men's prayer, right? So men's prayer is at 5 in the morning and on Tuesdays, and that's early for me. Getting up at 4:15 is crazy. And so in April, I had quite a bit of travel too. So I was like coming back from Stagecoach, a country festival, the night before, getting a couple hours of sleep, and then going to this men's prayer in the morning. And so at this men's prayer, all it is basically a bunch of dudes that are sharing their own stories and sharing what's happening. So basically we're sharing God's stories, right? So I watched around the first week, I just observed, and people were sharing things that have happened, and by having faith, there's miracles in lives are happening. People are getting healed. Amazing things are happening with finances or finding love, right? And they're just believing in a higher power, and boom, whether it's the law of attraction or God, again, it doesn't matter, but they're having that faith and cool things are happening. So I'm all fired up, I plugged in, I'm playing full out, and I prayed for abundance. I've got this amazing woman in my life, Megan Ann, my girlfriend, and I'm thinking, like, as soon as I met her, I'm like, dude, I gotta start saving for family and, buying a big, beautiful home and kids and all that stuff. So I'm starting to think bigger. And so I start to pray for abundance, right? So these guys pray over me for abundance, right? The first Tuesday in April. I leave there, and literally that same day, I end up on the phone with a lead for becoming a fire starter, right? So that's a $500 a month client that then wants to become a client at the $3,000 level. And so that was crazy. A couple days later, I end up hopping on the phone, actually, with you.
Yeah.
You want to come over here and say hi real quick?
Yeah.
So then I hop on the phone with this guy, AJ, who's a fire starter elite. What up? I don't know if you can see him.
What up? I didn't turn the little mic on.
You might have to kneel down a little bit to get to my level.
Oh.
What up? Yeah, there you go. So that's AJ. So I'm on the phone with this guy, and basically, so I just call him up, and that was basically, his goal was to be a fire starter at the $500 level, and then to upgrade to the $3,000 a month level. And we literally just had a simple conversation, like, dude, you ready to go? And he's like, heck yeah. And I was like, okay, that's cool. I, have another conversation that was like effortless with, a client, and I just made a suggestion, like, do you ever think about doing the elite program? And they said, yeah, let's do it. And I was like, do you need to talk to your husband? No, we're good. And again, it was effortless. So like abundance, that for me was like, $72,000 on an annual level, right? That was kind of a crazy situation. So it's not that I didn't have a relationship with them. It's not that it was like a miracle, but it's something that it was simple and it was easy, right? So that's cool. But that was kind of normal because I knew him and that was his plan. He wanted to do that anyway. So I come back the next week and I share that story. And everyone's like, oh, that's really cool. Then, pray for abundance again the next time. And this guy, Dr. Matt, says, he shares a story about, instead of praying for abundance, praying for wisdom. Because it's really about wisdom, and what you do with money and the decisions you make in business is really what you should pray for. So I pray for wisdom, and these guys all pray for wisdom. And all that's really doing is whether you believe in religion, or faith, I should say, not religion, or the unconscious mind. But either way, I'm getting all these positive messages into my unconscious mind, believing in God and faith. So they tell me to pray for wisdom, so I do. From there, I end up, a couple crazy things happen. Just coincidentally, I guess you could say, I got over $2,000 from a merchant account that I had 2 years ago from PowerPay that withheld money that I didn't realize. That just happened. Shanda Sumter, I hope you're watching, is a really amazing friend of mine. And I paid for tickets to go to a gala in LA for a charity. And she, out of the blue, and Shanda, if you're watching, I still have not asked you why or how this happened, but she out of nowhere just sent me the money back for the tickets, $500. So I'm just literally like, money is just flowing into my life. $500 there, over $2,000 there, all unexpected, just happening. I'm wondering what's going on. Come back in the next week, share that with all these guys, keep it going. After that, we have, I'm waking up to someone, buying our 20-day challenge courses on our website. People typically don't go to lifeonfire.com and use it as a menu, right? There are $1,000 courses, there's coaching programs, and people just start buying our stuff. And we're waking up and my team member Ryan's like, dude, Unsworth, man, did you see that just like random sale this morning? I mean, typically, it's not that it's not worth it. I mean, it's people should be buying these things every day. I mean, we're changing lives with our content, but it just doesn't happen where, we typically, we'll have an event. We'll do a webinar and we'll share what we have to offer and people will buy. They don't just typically just flood to the website and just buy things off the shelves, right? So that starts happening. It's super exciting. We're having fun with it. Then from there, so people are just buying our $1,000 courses, which is amazing. And then all of a sudden we had, next week we had our Firestarter Elite, it's a $3,000 program. A guy fills out the application online. My team member's like, hey, what's up with this application? It's a $3,000 a month program, right? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not sure where it came from. He's not sure where it came from. And, we end up hopping on the phone and, it's a $36,000 program. And, he says, hey, do you mind if I pay in full, for $30,000? And so you can call all this coincidence, but at the end of the day, again, whether you believe in God or faith, at the end of the day, it's manifesting and having faith. And there's no coincidence, in my opinion, that all these crazy things keep happening. But one of the things that Dr. Matt said to me that was so impactful is that it's not just about, it's not just a genie in a bottle. That as these cool things were happening, I made a decision to give back through that process, right? So we're doing this big online event called the Life on Fire Summit, and I decided that I was going to put my signature down for $25,000 for a school in Guatemala, right? So as cool things were happening in my life, I then in turn decided to give back, right? And decided that we're going to literally guarantee that we're going to fundraise $25,000 or more to build a school in Guatemala. So what's happening is that I'm, praying, these guys are praying over me for abundance. Amazing things are keep happening in my life. But as they were, I was like, yeah, I'll sign for 25 grand for a school in Guatemala, not knowing the how, but just having the faith that it's all gonna work out. So by surrendering and having the faith, cool things are happening. So since then, amazing other blessings and cool things have been flowing into my life, and I share all of this because what's so crazy, it's not just happening for me, it's like all these other guys around us in like this men's prayer group. So at the end of the day, the message, the point of this is that whether it's faith in God or faith in whoever you believe in, or spirituality, or it could be meditation, or it could be believing in the law of attraction, but at the end of the day, this is just one of these things where it's just so much fun and so amazing what's happening in my life. I feel like I'd be wrong not to share what's going on, because it's just, I've never lived life at this level. I've never been happier or more fulfilled ever in my entire life. And this is a big part of it. So, you know, having this as a part of your life, and I'm sure many of you are listening and say, Nick, you're preaching to the choir, right? So at the end of the day, if you already are super tuned into your spirituality, I think that's amazing. I mean, I'm late to the game. I'm getting just caught up now, but it's super exciting. It's so much fun, and it's leading to a very fruitful life. But if you're someone that, you know, that doesn't believe in God, whatever you want to do, that's all good. But maybe it's reading the book The Secret, maybe it's plugging into the law of attraction or meditating, but at the end of the day, dialing in a little bit of that spirituality into your life and balancing out that area of your life is just amazing. So that's just why I want to make this video. So at the end of the day, I just want to share that with you guys. And I also just want to say, to tie back to some of the blessings that have come from all this abundance prayer, and all the new folks that have joined on with Life on Fire as coaching clients. Just want to say a big welcome to you guys, and also thank you for everyone, you know, for your support and subscribing to the show and tweeting it up and sharing it with your friends and getting us out there to other people. So definitely appreciate it, and you know, just want to wish you guys a great rest of your day. And it's our goal to help you set your life and business on fire, and we're going to do everything in our power to help you do that. So great rest of your day. We'll see you guys soon. Cheers.
I'm here to help you set your life on fire.